Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show. Joe Rayo holding up quite well after a long day. He's on the left, and I am Joe Chaffee here on the right. Not politically, just our positions here physically. I always have to make that clear, just in case somebody is watching this for the first time and thinking that, I'm somehow making a political statement by saying that. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show is brought to you by the folks at Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon in New York on Long Island. And the telephone number is 631-756-1125 for the best prices in town, be it mulch, topsoil, gravel, or maybe it's hurricane supplies in case you need to get some new stuff like gasoline cans and perhaps a generator. Just head over to Omni or go to their website, omnitruevalue.com. Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs. Whether you want to get your home decorated or maybe you want to do this as a side business, give them a call at 631-957-5106. They're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York, also on Long Island. And the website is liholidaylighting.com. Support your local businesses. Well, you've had a very, very busy day.
Yes, and in some cases kind of stressful too. I got up early this morning and had to get into the city to the Rose Center Hayden Planetarium because a friend of ours was coming to visit, Lonnie Quinn from Channel 2 CBS. And he is working up a story or a package on the solar eclipse on Thursday morning. And we also had at the planetarium Jackie Faraday, one of the chief scientists and astrophysicists. And there you see the picture of
the handsome couple.
I felt so overdressed. I mean, I'm waiting. I got there before he did, and then I talked with his cameraman Alan from CBS 2. And then I see Lonnie from way, way down, and I'm saying to myself, is that really him? And I said, where's his jacket? He left the jacket in the car, and that's how he did his report. Open collar, no tie, and I felt so overdressed. I mean, I wore my sun and moon tie just for him, but...
Well, Lonnie doesn't even select a tie without consulting me first. You know how close he and I are.
Well, I said to him, well, at least I know it's not going to snow tomorrow because you don't have your sleeves rolled up.
That he didn't. Well, you are going to be with him on Thursday morning, correct?
Yeah, tentatively, that's the flight plan that we would be. And if anybody wants to join us, I know maybe Dennis Cassia wants to join us. We're going to be at Campo Beach. I've never been to Campo Beach. That's in Westport, Connecticut. And actually, Lonnie is urging that people, come on down because you want to see. But then on the other hand, we're not sure whether or not we're going to even see the darn thing because the weather ain't looking exactly the best for this, does it, Joe?
Well, that depends because the NAM late this afternoon offered you a bit of hope. It actually, well, we'll show it. I pulled up a few items from it. So we can take a look at what's happening because it's all really going to be about the cold front coming down. Sometimes when you get these back doors, if they come through and this one looks somewhat weak, on the north side, maybe there's some low clouds, but I'm thinking that there'll be drier air to the northeast. So there might be, since that's where you're going to be looking for the sunrise, if the forecast is
holes or breaks.
Well, holes or breaks, they're going to be to the northeast. So I think you got a shot. I do. I'd be more concerned if the front had already started buckling and you'd had precip, beginning to blow up in Pennsylvania by 7 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Then you'd be in big trouble. But I think you got a shot. I think we have a shot to have certainly a better chance as you go north and east of New York City. To see a better sunrise than you will south and west. That's the way it looks to me.
What I in fact I told Lonnie this afternoon. I said, if I were looking at a scenario where we would have lots of low clouds, I'd say we'd be dead in the water. But looking at the GFS show, now you know the GFS will give you cloud cover, but at three different levels: low clouds, mid-level clouds, and high clouds. And
Right.
the vast majority of the clouds that the GFS is predicting for Thursday morning are of the high variety.
Yes.
The mid and low level cloud cover, I wouldn't say we're devoid of that, but we're more scattered than anything else. So, and then when you look at total cloud cover, you say, we're done. We're not going to see anything. But the total cloud cover is basically being made up of those high clouds. And this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting in that when the sun is coming up, or even before sunrise, we're going to have about 80% of the sun blotted out. On the edge of the sun, the light is more toward, let's say, yellow-orange or red, the red limb region of the sun near the edge. And I'm thinking, if we have high clouds and the sun's rays happen to catch some of those high clouds, we may have a really weird-looking sunrise. The twilight may look muted. We may have strange-looking colors around the time of sunrise. So I'm looking forward to this. I think we even with the clouds, this could turn out to be a more dramatic type of an event than a lot of people are counting on.
Yeah, I noticed on the GFS when I pulled up the satellite, the simulated satellite. There's one for low clouds and there's one for high clouds, as you pointed out, and you're right. The low clouds, very little in the way of low cloudiness. Also, the dew points actually are down in the upper 50s, mid and upper 50s by Thursday morning. So there is dry air that's trying to come southward. It's just a matter of how much of a push you get. And the NAM suggested late this afternoon that the push may be a little bit stronger and force the frontal boundary a little bit further to the south. But you're playing this game on Thursday morning where you're talking about you really don't have a big window. You're talking about a couple of hours. So if this front's a little slower, even by an hour, that could really impact what happens. I did pull up, I'll bring it up now on the screen, because if you go to digital weather, you can actually, there's one of the options is cloud cover. And the percentage of sky cloud cover, this is at 5 a.m. And in New York City, it has a 61%. Now, these are all put in by the forecasters, so it's a human that's putting this in. These aren't computer numbers per se. 61% in New York City, 50 where you're going to be near Westport. It's somewhere between 53 and 58, and then to the north of you in northern Fairfield County, that's probably Danbury, 44% cloud cover. And just east of Waterbury, not quite to Hartford, it's about 40% cloud cover. So you see that there's dry air there. And then you go south and west, as I mentioned, if you look at the numbers to the south and west, and then you start to get into the cloud cover ranges of mid-60s percentage to even some middle 70s percentage cloud cover, down 65% in Philadelphia, 73% Atlantic City, Baltimore 76, 65 for Washington for some reason. But definitely heading up north, it's mostly 50% or less, or even 40%, down to 40% in a lot of spots up in central and northern New England and in upstate New York. So I think it's just going to be a matter of getting that push.
Yeah, exactly. And, a lot of the models, people, some of my Eclipse chasing buddies in the tri-state area, they've learned, even my daughter, you remember a couple of years ago, my daughter was asking questions about the GFS because she had discovered tropical tidbits, and she's trying to make her own forecast because she teaches and wants to know if there's going to be class tomorrow. But people who are looking at some of these maps on some of these social media sites, and they're saying, look at this, the clouds are here for 8 o'clock, or the clouds, and I point out to them, I said, wait a minute, 8 o'clock in the morning, 12Z, the eclipse is over. He said, you have to concentrate on what's going to happen a few hours earlier, which in that case may better favor you as opposed to 8 o'clock. So it's going to be touch and go. I've most of the eclipses that I've traveled to or looked at in my life have always been this way. It's always been a nail biter right down to the last minute. So I'm not throwing in the towel. I would have liked to have seen. You remember last Friday we were looking at, beautiful situation for the Northeast. That's not going to happen, obviously. So, but let's hope that there's just a little bit more of a push of drier air, and that hopefully in the upcoming next few runs, there'll be reason to be a little bit more optimistic. But like I said, if I were seeing low clouds and if I were seeing precipitation, the chance of showers, especially as you mentioned in parts of Pennsylvania advancing on us, I'd say, all right, that's it. I'd be ready to throw the towel in. But I still feel that we have a fighting chance at least to see something come Thursday morning. And as I said, too, the clouds may actually enhance to some degree the effect because, again, the peak of this eclipse is coming right at sunrise at around 5:24 a.m. So it'll be something to see and something to watch. And Joe, the other question I have for you is, when the heck is it going to turn cooler?
Well, we may.
Well, I know the answer to the question. I know the answer to that question.
That may come. I have the 3 kilometer NAM goes out till 2 a.m. on Thursday, and the high clouds on the enhancement here are already down in they're in South Jersey. And go northwest of there into northwestern PA. So you got that darker gray, which really represents either no high clouds at all or just maybe some patchy low clouds intermixed with clearer skies, northern New Jersey, Hudson Valley, and into southern and central New England. So again, this is because this particular run wanted to push the front a little bit further to the south. And if I bring up the surface, probably shows up. It's hard to see the isobars on this one, but I'll go to the 12. The NAM 12, you can at least see the isobars a bit better. At 1 a.m., the front is right along the south shore of Long Island, and then looks like if I had to draw it, I probably would draw it to Sandy Hook, to Trenton, and then go west of there. By 5 a.m., the isobar is actually northerly in New Jersey all the way down to Atlantic City. It looks like the front's actually pushed down almost into southern New Jersey, down near Cape May. So, and you have the first ice. I mean, really, this is so ridiculous how close, how tenuous this all is, and how close everything is. And as you said, I got the GFS. I'll show you that. Where was that low cloud? The low cloud fraction, I think that was on the smaller view. Hang on a second. So this is the simulated satellite at, this is at 9, this shot's at 9 p.m. because they go, for some reason on these satellite shots, they're 1 hour later. Instead of 0 and 6, they're 1 and 7. So this is at 3 a.m. and all the high clouds, there's a little bit of high cloudiness up to about New York City, but then you got that, that dark grayish area, which is showing very little in terms of cloud cover. But the heavier clouds down southern New Jersey, down into Virginia, and back at the high clouds anyway into southwest PA. And again, that's at 3 a.m. and of course by 9 a.m. Then you start to see the clouds begin to make their way slowly back northward. But as you said, you've got the timing is where 5 a.m. is what we want to look at, and
basically I don't care what the heck happens after 6:30. We could have a tornado after 6:30. I just want visibility, and actually, really, if it starts clouding over and going into the turlet, as Edith Bunker would say, at 6 a.m., fine. That's fine with me, as long as we got a view of the main event at around 5:30 in the morning. So we'll see.
Yeah, here's that other map I wanted to bring up. This was the low cloud fraction, and this is at 2 a.m., Joe, and there's hardly any low clouds at all being shown all the way down to Delaware as far as the low clouds. Right. And by 8 a.m., there's a little bit of low cloudiness, but it really isn't much. So all we can really say is fingers crossed and go from there.
Right. You sure you don't want to fly up, Joe, and join Lonnie and me? We could say special guest Joe Chiaffi.
Right. Well, Joe, unfortunately my private jet is in the shop. It's having its wings changed, so I can't possibly.
And you could even bring up. You could bring JJ with you, and we could see how the eclipse affects animal life. Well, knowing JJ, he'll probably sleep through the whole eclipse.
Well, how the show affects animal life because he's out. He's just completely out. I'll pull the camera over a little bit later. Satellite tonight, we had those thunderstorms that popped up this evening scattered around there. I should point out that I actually have a cell approaching me, so hopefully it won't knock the power out. But you can see the blow up that's going on in the southeastern part of the United States. We've been watching all this tropical moisture that's been over Texas and Louisiana and Arkansas, specifically in Texas for many days now. It's finally that upper low, and you see the rotation there in eastern Oklahoma. That upper low is finally beginning to slowly inch its way eastward. And now it's come far enough east that we're going to be tapping some of this moisture tomorrow with some scattered thunder. And then I also thought that there could be maybe a couple of thunderstorms possible when the front comes by late Wednesday afternoon.
Now, the question, and we brought this up yesterday, do you still think that with the front locally here on Wednesday, we might see something more than just, as they were saying yesterday, general thunderstorm activity?
Maybe an outside chance that they'll put a sliver of marginal risk in there. I think that I don't think you can go for more because the upper trough is so far to the northeast. We're just kind of on the edge of it. So I'm guessing, I'm going to say, other than a small sliver, I wouldn't expect to see anything else. But I will, that you mentioned it though, there's a front that's going to come through on Sunday. That's got a nice looking upper trough that's going to come along with it. So that one might be a problem.
More robust.
Much more robust, and we'll show everybody that shortly. But notice there's a donut. I don't know if you see the satellite, Joe, there in the southwest. That's a very odd. That is a very odd formation. But look at that. That's a donut. What is that?
God, I don't know.
That is a strange. That is
maybe he did cloud seeding or whatever.
That is, I don't know. That is really incredibly strange when you look at it. I'm sure someone will have a field day about it. They're sitting on there.
It's a neuter cane.
Yeah. Thunderstorms are blowing up right now in eastern Wyoming, western Nebraska, up into South Dakota and North Dakota. We have some severe weather risk up in that area. Just want to show you what's on the radar right now. As of, I actually refreshed this at about 8:25, so it's a little bit old. But there's just north and west of Gainesville here in Georgia. I'm about 45 miles or so northwest of Gainesville and northwest of Gainesville. So that cell was very close to me. Now, I don't know if it's fallen apart in the last 20 minutes because I heard some thunder just before the show started, and that was it. It's a busy night tonight in the southeast, seeing thunderstorms in South Georgia, into South Carolina, and also in through central North Carolina. I haven't seen anything really severe out of that. There's one severe thunderstorm warning. Might as well refresh this because some of these thunderstorm warnings may have expired. I don't want to put on old info. So let's look at the Northeast. It's quiet now. There were those cells earlier. They came and went. And you see some cells back in western PA, eastern Ohio, down into West Virginia. Also in northern Illinois, just south and west of Chicago, scattered around through parts of Michigan. In the south, we've got 3 severe thunderstorm warnings at work right now in northwestern Mississippi and in parts of east central Arkansas. In the west, a couple of cells there in northwest Texas. 2 severe thunderstorm warnings north of Boulder, one near Fort Collins, the other one on the Wyoming side near Cheyenne. And then you've got these other cells, 5 severe thunderstorm warnings up in the Dakotas at the moment. And the Storm Prediction Center has slight risk up in the Dakotas. It's got slight risk across northwest Louisiana into Arkansas, and the marginal risk that surrounds that, the general thunderstorms elsewhere. And as you pointed out, they really didn't change anything here. For tomorrow, they've got general thunderstorms, I think pretty much everywhere east of the Rockies again. Again, they got that hole from Kansas up to I mean, this must be the day for holes. We got a donut hole on the satellite. We got a hole on the on the SPC map. Marginal risk: Western Tennessee, Northern Mississippi, Southern Illinois, Eastern Missouri, Easternmost Arkansas, Western Kentucky, and a teeny tiny portion of Southwest Indiana. Slight risk tomorrow with a 15% chance of a 5% chance of tornado risk in eastern Montana, western North Dakota, and it's a 15% wind, and they got a hatched area there, so that's a 10% or greater of 2 inches in diameter hail and winds of 65 miles an hour, 65 knots. I'm sorry, that's the hail. 15% chance. The hatched area is for 2-inch diameter. I take it back on the wind. They only got 50 knots or higher. So there's a hatched area for the hail. And day 3, which is Wednesday.
Day 3 is ridiculous. Day 3, like now, even like 85% of the country has a chance of thunderstorm.
Right.
I've never seen anything like this. This is crazy.
It is rather large. Small area of marginal risk there. And on the day 4, they're carrying a 15% chance. So there's at least thinking that there's going to be a slight risk in the western Dakotas on day 4. And also in western Nebraska, eastern Montana. And on day 8, day 7 would be Sunday into Monday. So that's the next front. Predictability too low. So they don't have anything on there yet. Who knows? Maybe it'll pop up in a couple of days. Maybe they'll have something when we get a little bit closer.
Well, I mean, if they have it on day 4, and if they do some simple extrapolation or whatever, it should. And if it holds together, it'll be here. They just don't want to go much beyond day 4. A couple of times we've seen them go stick their neck out as far as day 6. I don't think they've ever stuck their neck out all the way out to 7.
I think I remember seeing them at day 7 a couple of times. You have to be absolutely, you have to have a very high. It's got to be a setup that shows very high confidence for them to put it out beyond day 5. So so if you see it on day 7, it probably is going to be in business. Rainfall.
Wait a minute. You said a very high what?
I said
very high.
If you see it on a day 5 or a day 6, they mean business with regards to.
But I mean, you use the word very high confidence.
Confidence. Confidence. If they have confidence in the forecast, you'll see it on. That's when you.
Sure exactly.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure what you said.
Okay, when you see it on a map on a day 5 or a day 6 or on a day 4, they have a very high confidence at some. So you have to have a really high confidence if you're going to put it out on a day 7 map.
And also cojones.
Yes, yes. That's a $50 word in some neighborhoods. So rainfall,
anyway.
WPC's rainfall forecast map, bringing in, this is probably going to be for Friday and whatever convective activity we see in the next couple of days. And also this would include next Sunday if we get something with that cold front coming down. So they're going for anywhere from half an inch to an inch or a bit more. But the bigger amounts in Virginia, Southern PA, Delaware, Maryland, West Virginia, Ohio, and then you still got big amounts of 3 to 5 inches or more in western Kentucky, western Tennessee, down in northwest Mississippi, and in most of Arkansas. So busy there with rainfall. Oh, and by the way, Joe, this is the rainfall for the last, which I'm trying to remember what time frame. Oh, the last 2 weeks of rainfall, parts of Texas, anywhere from 5 to 15 inches there in central and east Texas. It's a pretty wet-looking map. This includes the Memorial Day holiday weekend, so you can see the Northeast did very well. Did very well, obviously, in the last 14 days when it comes to rainfall. Also, the eastern half of North Carolina, substantial amounts of rain. Parts of the Ohio Valley, the Middle Mississippi Valley, all the way up also into the central Plains. getting some sizable rainfalls, even up into the northern plains and northern Rockies. Getting got a ton of rain here in the last couple of weeks. It's been a very wet, very end of May, beginning of June.
Well, we needed it. We were like verging on, translating into. In fact, I'm gonna just take a look here at the CPC Climate Prediction Center and their drought outlook index.
If you want to pull the map up, you can.
Yeah, I'm going to take a look here. Oh, I lost it. Now, where did it go? Come on. Yeah, let me if I can get down to the share screen here, and I'll do this. And come on. Oop. There we go. So there you see the.
Hold on. I got one more.
Prediction.
Hold on, I got one more thing to do here. Hang on. I forgot to switch you on the screen. Now that's on the screen. Go ahead.
Yes. And so you see this is the U.S. seasonal drought outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. My goodness, look at, the lower peninsula of Michigan and a stripe across Wisconsin and southern Minnesota. And then from there on, just about everybody in the western United States is going through a period, it says drought persists or drought development likely. So, obviously, if it stays dry out there, they're going to get into that drought scenario. I'm trying to see if there's anything, U.S. Drought Monitor. There you go. And you can see up in our neck of the woods, the Northeast, we have, what do we have here? If I can close in on that. Here we go. Here's the Northeast. This was released last Thursday, June the 3rd. So we have abnormally dry conditions over a good portion of Maine, also across much of Vermont and New Hampshire. In fact, they're bordering toward moderate drought, a D1 for both Vermont and New Hampshire. Upstate New York, they are either ranging between abnormally dry or moderate drought. You could see Orange County. Orange County is in that DO, that abnormally dry. How in the world could they be abnormally dry after what the map that you just showed, Joe, showing all of that rain that we had from the Memorial Day weekend? But things may improve when the next report comes on this coming Thursday. Southern New Jersey, much of Pennsylvania is out in the clear, except for northwestern northwestern Pennsylvania with abnormally dry conditions. Much of West Virginia as well. So there are parts of the Northeast that are still in a dry situation, and you have to go all the way up into the Adirondacks of New York State to get into moderate drought, and also into portions of Vermont. In fact, right here, the border between New Hampshire and Vermont, that's where Interstate 91 is, right up along the Connecticut River Valley. And so in Vermont, at least, they're suggesting, again, moderate drought conditions in place right now.
Bring the U.S. map up again of this. Can you do that?
Hang on. Let me see if I can do that. Yeah, there we are. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's pretty ugly there in the Southwest and in California. And the Dakota's at least picking up, something. So they're also, it's pretty ugly up there. And I guess the rains of the last couple of weeks, you think would have, there was some big rainfall amounts up in the northern Rockies. You think that would have alleviated some of the drought conditions up from Wyoming and on up into western Montana and up into Idaho. But sometimes they lag a little bit. Yeah, look at that. They've got D4, exceptional drought.
D4, exceptional drought. And they finally gave up after that.
Right, exactly.
Nothing higher than D4.
There's nothing more exceptional than exceptional drought.
And a friend of mine, I think I may have mentioned this, and if I did, I pardon, mentioning it again. But a friend of mine showed me a listing of the drought index at this time, or actually in late May of last year, and what is happening in this same area right now, especially around this zone right here, is like 3 times worse than what it was last year. And you well remember what the folks in this part of the country went through about mid or late summer last year with the firestorms and everything else. I don't even want to imagine what's going to happen to this area later on this summer, if that indeed comes about. I mean, that this whole Southwest will be on fire by then.
Yeah, well, as long as they don't have some Phi Beta Kappa out there that decides to celebrate their birthday by shooting fireworks again, like one of the fires that started out in California happened. Let's hope that
Right.
doesn't, that, like you said, let's hope that doesn't repeat itself. And
Right.
all right, so let's go forward and go back. I'm going to go to. I just want to bring up that precip analysis, and then let me switch over to the GFS and bring up the upper air so we can talk about where all of this is going. One of the things, Joe, I was noticing on a number of runs for the last couple of days, the amplitude of the pattern is continuing to be present going into the medium and longer range. You got a deep trough off the coast of California. Of course, we've got this system for Wednesday, this upper low that forms in Labrador, swings to Nova Scotia, Newfoundland. This is why I don't think we're going to. I don't see this as a big risk situation here because the trough is so far to the northeast. I mean, it barely touches us. This is Thursday morning when the shallow cold front has already gone by, but we're still basically in almost a bit of a ridge position here in the upper atmosphere, which kind of explains why that front's not going to make a whole lot of progress southward. But then look at Sunday. As we move along, there's a series of short waves that moves through eastern Canada, and then on Sunday, there's a short wave that comes from Lake Winnipeg and drops over the lakes and then goes into the northeast. Wait a minute, I got this is the right run? No, right in there. Hold on. This is it. Yeah. Well, this is Friday. Don't tell me this model run changed from the last one. Yeah, it did. Take a look at this. Let me go. Now it's changed. Let me go back to the 12Z for a moment. All right. So this is 12Z Sunday, where it brings this system from Lake Winnipeg, drops it into the Great Lakes, and it's got this nice sharp trough that comes through Sunday night. That's a nice short looking short wave that swings on through, and so when I saw that, I thought, you know what, if depending on what we're dealing with at the surface, and it didn't look like we were going to probably have more of a west wind on Sunday than anything else. Maybe there might be some severe weather. The GFS showed that at the surface, but now you look at the 18Z. And the European was very similar to this, by the way. Now, the 18Z is like, okay, now it wants to drop the trough down and make a cutoff low over New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania by Monday, and that would be somewhat problematic. But then, of course, it all pulls out. But we've got troughing in the east through much of next week, so it's not going to get hot here, that's for sure.
No, it's not. Once we see the hot air get nudged southward by that cold front during Wednesday, the days after that will be back to, well, I'm not going to say near normal or below normal, but just mild, if you will, a little above normal. Nothing like the extremes that we've been going through. I think our thermometer here in Putnam Valley today hit 95, and yesterday was 94, and the day before was 91. Joe, I think at least up here, I know the city hasn't done it yet, but we certainly are into your classic heat wave, and I think we've actually had 5 consecutive 90-plus days going back to the end of last week.
Yeah. Newark might be up there too, I think, maybe at 4 or 5. But New York City, no. And certainly not central Long Island. Yesterday got to 90 at Islip at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then the temperature dropped from there. Today it only got to 81 at Islip, but there were North Shore temperatures that got to near 90 before the south wind, knocked all the numbers back down. I'm just running forward. We're going into Father's Day weekend. You still have very active westerlies from the Pacific Northwest into the Ohio Valley. There's no ridge in the east. Still more troughs that just keep dropping into the eastern part of the United States. So this hot period, this hot and humid period that we're in, is going to be it for a while. from the standpoint of heat and humidity.
Right, right. And well, think about it. The last time I could remember heat this intense and so protracted in the month of June. Well, actually, two times. I remember 1988. That summer was really a killer, and 1999. And the fact that we're doing this now, I'm not sure. What does that mean? I mean, does it mean that we're going to have a proliferation of extremely hot weather for, let's say, later in the month or July or August? We'll just have to wait and see.
Joe, it's also entirely possible that Newark got to 97 yesterday, or 96 or 97. That they, we've had summers where you've got temperatures that get that high early, and then you don't see it anywhere close to being that high during July and August.
Right, right. Well, we'll see. I could remember your and you know something. That person I brought up every once in a while, Rob Friedelwitz.
Yes.
And this guy is crazy. I say that in a nice way. He is so fanatical about records and patterns, and he has judged. I should actually dig this up. I'm sure it's still on his website somewhere. Summers. There have been some summers he points out that have had like 35 or 38, 90-degree days, and yet he considers summers that have had a greater concentration of hot weather over a short time span to be the really killer summers. Like you may have like only 16 or 18 90-degree days, but like 14 of them were all jammed together during a 2-week stretch in early August. And he places that up near the top of his list for extremes, even though there are other summers that have had, let's say, twice as many 90-degree days during the summertime.
Spread out.
But they're kind of spread out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
It's always tough when you get a bunch of days in a row. It just really strains you. Tomorrow, of course, there'll be some more showers and storms that'll pop up. Who knows if the GFS radar presentation is correct or not. Then Wednesday, you've got the front, some scattered stuff with there. You see it does have a bit of a line down in Virginia into western North Carolina. It doesn't do much of it with us. This front stalls. Then by Thursday afternoon, it's got rain coming back, but the NAM is much drier. It's got that push much further to the south. We'll see which model has the right depiction here. And then, of course, with finally that upper low that's coming out of Texas, finally what's left of it moves into the east for Thursday night and Friday, and you see the rain that it produces there. But it looks like there'll just be one wave, and I think we'll see a decent day on Saturday, although it's not going to be hot. You'll probably be upper 70s and low 80s with the high sitting right off of Long Island early Sunday morning. And then here comes this next cold front, which on this run is far less robust, although it's still there, far less robust than what the 12Z run is doing, because the GFS is doing this weird thing where it wants to lag the upper low. And, of course, you see that the rain persists there into Monday. I'm sure the model rolls out some kind of tropical system, and indeed it does by day 9 or 10. Now, that's too far out in the long range, but NHC did on their outlook earlier today, in case you missed it, has on their 5-day graphical outlook, they're highlighting an area down in the Southwest Caribbean. This is the beginnings of what the models seem to be picking up, both the European and the GFS. So they got a 0% chance in the next 48 hours, 30% in the next 5 days. Some gradual development, likely after Thursday, as a low develops there. We don't really need to pay serious attention to this until we get toward the end of the week, and then maybe we'll give it another look and see what's going on. But pressures are low. They are going to be low in the Caribbean based on the upper pattern. They also are going to be low in time over the Gulf of Mexico. So this is the area that you look for in June if something's going to happen. This is the place, climatologically speaking, where there's a chance that you could get some tropical storm cyclone formation. Not that it can't happen in the in the southwestern Atlantic, but conditions aren't favorable in that particular zone for anything to happen. So anyhow, we're back full screen. And let's see. Johnny Quest up in where he is in northwestern Virginia, drowning again. He's got a flash flood warning to the south of him, and he's already got
How many inches did they have last? How many inches did they have last
I
year
think he said he had
in that part
100.
of?
Did he get over 100? I
100?
think he got over 100 inches.
I think. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, there's all
Yeah.
sorts of weird stuff that happens in Western Virginia. I noticed when I drove down there in the wintertime, there's all kinds of, there's all kinds of stuff because of the mountains. 81 is in that valley, and then at times it goes up into one of the higher ranges and then comes down again. And you can drive in and out of all sorts of different weather depending on what the setup is. So it wouldn't surprise me in the least that he winds up with 100 inches of rain.
100 inches of snow. You were going to say?
I was going to say 100 inches of snow, but hey, he does get a lot of snow because he's up, about 3,000 feet.
Yeah.
So he does pretty
Right.
well over there. All right, let's get a little Briller Jeopardy here, and Mr. Scott, the chairman, sent it over. Also pointing out, I think the Caribou, Maine, winter is over in Caribou, Maine, since they probably got to 90. So they're finally done. Okay, so here we go for tonight. So you get to guess to within 2 years the year that these shows debuted in. Okay. Within 2 years, and you'll get 2 gift certificates from the one from the Spiegel Catalog Company, Spiegel, Chicago, Illinois 60609, and the Michael C. Fina Company. So I think they're both still around too. They're getting free plugs, so let them know. If somebody that knows Spiegel or Michael C.
We blacked
Fina.
out all of a sudden.
Did we?
The screen is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know why. Hold on. I'm sorry. No, because it wound up being minimized. Hang on.
Joe, because
There we go. Now we're back.
the fact that it's now 9/11. Do you realize I'm missing the Lucy show?
Oh, good Lord. Okay. So here we go. Guess to within 2 years. You ready?
Yes.
The Jeffersons.
Moving on up.
Moving on up
To the.
to
Oh well,
moving
that's a
on
spin-off.
up.
That's a spin-off of All in the Family. I will say 1974.
Well, you were within 2. 1975. Car 54. Okay. Where are you?
Oh God. That I think dates back into the late 50s. I think 19. I'm going to take a guess. Tootie and Muldoon. Ah, yes. 59.
Well, good that you said 59, because if you'd have said 58, you would have been outside of the 2 limit. 1961. Okay.
61. Okay.
Okay, the next one is da 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 da. My Favorite Martian.
Martian. And I was very upset when My Favorite Martian debuted because they took off Dennis the Menace for My Favorite Martian. I always used to watch Lassie and then Dennis the Menace. And Dennis the Menace was gone. They took Dennis the Menace off though after the original Mr. Wilson died, and they replaced him with Gale Gordon.
Right.
And not that I didn't like Gale Gordon, but it just didn't seem the same.
And they also wrote out that the girl Margaret that had the crush on Dennis, that always wanted to play house because she got too old. She got too old and went into puberty, so they dumped her. My Favorite Martian.
Right, My Favorite Martian was only on for 3 years, I think. The first 2 years were black and white. Then they went to color. Color was 1965. So backtrack 64, 1963.
Perfect. McHale's Navy.
Oh, 64.
62. So you're still moving along here. Get Smart.
Really went that early?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Get Smart. 19. I don't know. 65.
1965. Wow, you're on a roll here. Okay, Family Affair.
Dun 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 dun
Da
dun.
da da da
Master Buffy
da
and
da 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 da
here's my
da
Sebastian
da da da.
my Sebastian Cabot. This was this basically this sums up Family Affair. Sebastian Cabot walks in and talks to Brian Keat. Master Buffy and Jody are stuck in the elevator shaft, and here's Brian Keat. Oh well, friend. I
Real
don't know.
great acting.
1960, 66.
Boy, you are really on a hot streak. You've got the last four exactly correct. One Day at a Time.
One Day at a Time. And I don't know if my wife is still watching. I had the worst crush possible on Valerie Bertinelli when that show
Who
came on.
didn't?
I love Valerie. I love Valerie Bertinelli. Sorry about that, dear. One Day at a Time. That's a toughie. Because there was another show I remember. The other show had Pat Harrington. Remember?
Yeah. Well, that's.
And
but Pat Harrington was also on One Day at a Time.
oh God, what 1970 1977.
Within two, 1975. Now here I'll throw in my own bonus question. Let's see if you can get this one. So, do you know who created who created the show One Day at a Time?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Who was the creator?
Well, who originated the show? What's that?
It wasn't Bonnie Franklin.
No.
It was not Bonnie Franklin, was it?
No, it was Whitney Blake.
Whitney Blake?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And
You mean Missy from
Hazel? Yes.
Hazel. Who was also the mom of Meredith Baxter.
Right, exactly. Meredith Baxter. Okay, next is the Addams Family.
Well, I think that was 64.
1964, and that's correct. And I happened to be watching. I found a YouTube video of a compilation of Addams Family clips with the trains, where it was blowing up the trains.
Blowing up the train.
And I just I just loved it. I just watched with my jaw dropping, saying, "I want that train set." When I was a kid, I wanted that train set.
That was the big thing back in those days. Was the Munsters came out first? Or was the Addams Family came out first, and then the Munsters came later? I don't know, but the TV station,
around the same time. I think the Munsters may have come first, and then the Addams Family. Oh no, maybe I'm not sure.
But they were battling
I'm not sure.
They were battling with these kind of, weird, and you remember even the Flintstones got in on it. There was the neighbors living up the block from
Yes.
Flintstones, the Gruesomes.
Well, it was an ABC show.
Right.
So you
can call me creep. You can call me Creepy Cookie.
Yes. Now the next one is when did I guess this is when did the Three Stooges debut on television?
The Three Stooges debuting on television?
I guess when they started running their shorts, or if they were making new shows. I don't know.
I don't know. If you want me to run my shorts right now, I can. No, never mind.
No.
To me, I remember the Three Stooges were associated with Channel 11 and Officer Joe Bolton.
Right.
And that may have been like in the 1950s, maybe 1954 or 56.
This was a tough one. This is a real tough one. He's apparently 1949. So they may have
49.
They may be somebody was running the old Three Stooges shorts from the 30s and 40s. By the way, there's one Three Stooges short with Curly that has Lucille Ball in it from the early 30s. It was one of her first things that she did. The next one and the last one. So I'm going to give you a pass on that one because that's a tough one. So the last one is Marcus Welby, MD.
Well, boy, what it was? I think it was 1971 for Marcus Welby.
Within 1969.
Right.
I'm impressed.
Marcus Welby was big.
Listen, we're giving you a pass on the Three Stooges, so you're going to get 2 gift certificates tonight. One from the speaker. Now, if you got the Three Stooges one without that, then you would have gotten the coat for the fur coat from Dicker and Dicker of Beverly Hills.
Dicker of Beverly Hills.
Yes. Oh God. Yes, Alaska Railroad. I would love to come over for some moose burgers. I'm sure they were excellent. Seriously, I would have loved it. But I'm about as far as from Alaska as I think you might get from the continental U.S. Well, maybe if I was down in South Florida, it would be a little further. But it's still a long ways away from where I am. So I think that thunderstorm must have died out because we didn't take an electrical hit and everything was good. So we'll call it a night because I know you're exhausted and I'm actually quite tired too. I didn't get I didn't get a good night's sleep last night, so I'm going to try to make up for it tonight. So there.
So there you go.
All right, everybody.
So we will see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Same bad time. No, wait a minute. Now tomorrow night. What did we say to
9:30 tomorrow? 9:30 tomorrow.
9:30. 9:30.
All right.
How did that happen?
You said 9.
Oh, you know who we could? Yeah. Wait a minute. I just want to make sure the calendar schedule is correct here.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Westwood Library. You know who we can blame for this late scheduling tomorrow?
Oh, Janet.
Janet
Dunn. She gets a pass though.
Okay.
She gets a pass. So 9:30, unless you send me a message saying you're so wiped out that you don't feel like doing it.
No, I enjoy doing this show. I want to continue doing this show. I can't find a better partner to do the show than.
Thank you.
Because if I found another partner, if I found somebody else, let's say his name was Ronald, it would be the Ron and Joe show. Or the Joe and Ron show.
Well, that wouldn't work. You also have to find a partner that knows how to run the software. So
that's true. That's true.
All right, folks.
And the faithful dog.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of which, there he is. I don't know if he's up on the screen.
See?
He'll be up on the screen in momentarily.
Yep. Oh, here I see him. I see him.
You see him?
Look at the Zoom thing.
There he is.
There he is.
That's his spot.
Sleep tight.
Yeah, no, he'll stay there till I get into bed. Then he'll stay for about 5 minutes, and then he'll go on his bed, which is on the floor. I don't know why he does that, but that's his choice. He's just every so often I'll wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's still laying right next to me. So I guess it's a mood for him. He's more comfortable. Maybe when he's extra tired, he just wants to just stay on the bed because he's too lazy to move off of it. I really don't know. I haven't figured that part of the equation out yet. So we'll see everybody tomorrow night, 9:30, okay? 9:30. So have some coffee tomorrow evening after dinner to keep you awake, and we'll see you then. Nighty-night, everybody.
Okay. Bye.